location, most likely another beach house, judging by the photo.
I
Which
just
beach
changed
house
the
are you
photo
at this one?
because people are giving me so much shit for it.
Oh, really?
That yeah, people are like, that's inappropriate.
Why is that inappropriate? I think you should put that one back up. I mean, this one's nice too, but
No, this was like my junk one. So I have another. I have a
this
Banksy
is a
one that I'm not.
junk one. You're not doing anything to protect your image as an adjunct professor, by the way.
This was like $20 off of Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks nice. Shout out to
Oh, look,
whoever painted it. They put their name on the bottom.
called Collins, I guess.
Hey, Collins. Man, that
Exactly.
Sean just said is worth $20 at a marketplace. Shout out to
You
Collins.
don't buy Facebook Marketplace?
Nah, that stuff's scary, man.
Well, it depends
We've
on what
seen
you're doing.
too many horror movies, or my wife watched too many of those true crime stuff.
Off of Facebook Marketplace?
Women love that stuff, that true crime. I don't know why women
Yeah,
get
I
into
get
it.
that part, but I don't know why
Yeah,
there are
like
horror stories with Facebook Marketplace.
that's the new way to lure you in, and then the weirdos like do whatever they want. I'll stay away from that, man.
I don't know.
You want to
I
keep talking
enjoy
about the
Facebook Marketplace.
weirdos on Marketplace, or we got some
I'm just a
serious
weirdo
stuff,
myself,
man.
so who am I going to sit and judge?
Well, yeah, but you're not gonna end up on a true crime series. At least we don't think so.
Oh, not if you do it. Not if you don't help me.
That's why we put not legal, financial, or medical advice, so Darshan doesn't land up in one
Or,
of those. Because we're
like,
talking controversial stuff today.
oh, we are.
FDA going
Yep.
after compounding pharmacies for abusing. From what I'm a layperson, right? Here's what I
Okay.
understand. Compounding pharmacies were always meant to be when you needed to mix ingredients that are not like commercially available at scale, like at Walgreens or the big retail chains. They make it like special, custom made for you, but they're not meant to be given to everyone willy nilly because they don't want to pay for a GLP-1 themselves. So they'll throw
Is
some
that the end of the
vitamins in
sentence?
there. Well, no, I'll keep going. They throw vitamins in there. Oh, this one has B12 because this person needs energy. The FDA says, you know what? That's bullshit. You guys need to be buying this stuff. We never tested your GLP-1s on there. You can't just put vitamins and then get around the law. Am I on the right track?
So you're missing a ton of history. So the way it started was
Of course I do. That's why you're on.
So I actually went to at one point University of Florida and got special courses in being a compounding pharmacist in like 2008 or so. Maybe early, actually earlier, 2005, 2006. Okay. So the general takeaway at that point was you are a patient, you have, let's say you're allergic to a dye, or you know what, you need a specific dose that simply doesn't exist. No pharmaceutical company is going to go make it for you, right? That just makes no sense. So what we landed up with was this compromise that pharmacists can compound. So flavoring, or your horse needs some medication and you need to create like for veterinarians, create special dosing, all that stuff. That's what compounding pharmacies and pharmacists did. Then come about 2009, 2010, you had the FDA saying we're going to start enforcing good manufacturing practices across the board on all pharmaceutical companies, and we're going to be really, really onerous about it. Well, a lot of pharmaceutical companies basically said we make generics, our margins are like paper thin. You tell us to do more, we can't make a profit on it, so we're just going to stop making the drug. So now you had a choice. That's when you got into this world where you suddenly had 150, 160 drug shortages at any given time. So I remember working in a hospital where we said we don't have chemotherapy for these patients because the drug doesn't exist. So you were compounding these medications, which all sounds great. So they saved people because there literally were no drugs at that point. Then you got the NECC tragedy, which is these pharmacists. Again, I say these pharmacists. I am a pharmacist.
Right. For
Um,
those that don't know, Darshan is an attorney and a pharmacist, not
that's right.
specializing in anything, but right? Or what?
Yes,
I
yes.
went the
I
other
also
way
have an
now.
MS in QARA, just to be clear, a Master's in Quality Assurance Regulatory Affairs.
Wow.
Um,
That sounds
and a
expensive.
fellowship and a clerkship, and most importantly, I have a associates in general studies.
And a $20
So
painting behind you.
I had a $20 painting behind me. Did you know the story of this painting? No, I used to do
I
that
know
with
the
the other
story
one.
of the other one, and now I'm upset that it's not up
I,
there. It's just bothering me. Can you just send it to me if you're not going to use it?
oh, who said I'm not going to use it?
Oh,
It's
okay.
an Italian artist. You want me to tell you the story? But
Of
no,
this one, of the $20 one?
I don't know. The story of this is I got it for $20 off Facebook Marketplace. I don't know
that's,
anything more.
that's enough of a story. Well, what people,
So let me finish this
yeah,
part of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
finish the history because I think it's important.
so what happened is that pharmacists were like, okay, we're going to help people. This is great, but this is a great money making venture. So you had these pharmacists compounding at scale for dozens of hospitals and retail places all across the country, which was great as a concept. But we were not taught GMPs in pharmacy school. That's just simply not done. Um, you can get industrial pharmacy, for example. I hear Rutgers had more of an industrial pharmacy program, but my school, for example, simply didn't.
Hmm.
And we like Lilly graduated from my school, and like actual Eli Lilly did, and I think Walker, no, not Walker, not Pfizer, one of the GSK. What was GSK originally called? GlaxoSmithKline. I think SmithKline Beecham graduated from our
Mr.
school.
Mr. Klein himself. Wow.
Mr. Beecham himself, I think. But yeah, like
Wow.
that level. So I think 8 of the top 10 founders, something graduated from my college.
Okay.
But anyways, that's a different discussion. The point being, uh, we simply weren't taught that as pharmacists. My degree is more clinical, if you will. But there are shortages and patient needs need to be met. So what did we do? We started making them, but these pharmacists didn't know how to follow the rules. As a result, there was this one drug. I think it was I forget. It was some drug. It was a steroid. Landed up killing 60 people and landed up hurting about 600 others. So
When was this?
the this was 2013.
Okay.
So it's called the NECC tragedy because it was the New England compounding.
Ah, you came on my podcast back then and talked about this. I remember
Wow,
now.
see, look at that. Okay,
Yeah, New England. I
so
remember the New England part.
yeah, so Congress came out and said we can't have this. So they created 2 types of pharmacies. There's the 503A and the 503B. If you're going to keep doing personalized medications for an individual, you do 503A. No big deal, always personalized. If you're going to make it for drug shortages, 503B.
I see.
So
And
that's
what
where that
about veterinary? Because I know veterinary falls
veterinary
into.
is technically for one-off patients. So it would still be a 503A.
Okay. Ah, I
Okay.
see. Okay.
And vet meds don't go on shortage for the most part, so that's not usually a huge issue.
Okay.
So that's your breakup. Then you got into about 2020, and you landed up in a scenario where there simply weren't enough drugs. So the FDA came out with like a list of drugs on shortage. If your drug was on shortage, these compounding pharmacies could make it. 2020, Wegovy went on shortage, and semaglutide went on shortage. Compounding pharmacies started making it.
And that's
They
because of
realized
the lockdown, right? COVID lockdowns. That's when we also realized our infrastructure's weakness is outsourcing
or
these
or
things.
I don't even know. I think that may have played a small role. The truth is,
Hmm.
no one knew that weight loss was such a big market.
Right.
So lifestyle drug, like the last time I
How
remember a
could they
version of
not?
this,
How did they
Pfizer.
not predict that? Like in hindsight, it's like so obvious.
In hindsight, it is. In
Yeah.
hindsight, you're like, I'm telling you right now, the next time someone gets a cure for baldness, expect this again, because every dude's going, I want that shit,
Right.
and and I mean like one of
Shout
those
out to
real
Chris
ones.
Sauber.
Oh,
Shout
that's
out to
just
Chris Sauber.
mean. That's just
It took you a
mean.
while to get it.
I thought he's like, wait, he's working on a product. What the hell? Wait. So, okay, that's okay.
Shout out to
Um,
Chris Sauber.
that's my boy right there. You
I
don't
know
say
he's your
that shit.
boy. We'll tag
Anyway.
him.
So, anyways, so that's what happened. So these compounding pharmacies were making it until the FDA finally said, no, shortage is gone. We're good now. And these pharmacies are like, wait a second, we're making billions of dollars on this. You
Yeah.
can't just take it away.
This is bank.
This is bank.
And that's
So
how HIMS grew out of this, like a phoenix out of this
correct,
crisis.
correct. What happened as a result was they said we can't do 503B anymore. Our only option is a 503A, which means we will make personalized doses for people. Well, how personalized is it if your dose is basically the same one we're advertising on freaking the Super Bowl? Well, that's not personalization at that point. Just you adding something
Well, the
doesn't make
way
it
I
personal.
understand they get around is the doctors, like, because I know some of these doctors who have weight loss clinics here, and
Sure,
they
absolutely,
make more profit as well by using the compound
absolutely.
pharmacies, but it also saves the cost. Like the patients pay less too.
Yes, but here's the problem. If you start doing that every single time, why would anyone go and invent a drug at all? Because you're just going to always say that well, I can just get it from weight loss farm, get it from compound. But that's not even the real point. The fact is, there are four major categories that the FDA says you need to meet. If you do these four things, and I think you and I have had this conversation, if you do two of them and you make sure the other two don't happen, the FDA basically has no jurisdiction over you. So you have to make sure the drug is safe and effective, and you have to make sure it is not adulterated and it's not misbranded. So
Mhm.
two things must happen, two things must not happen. So safe and effective, adulteration and misbranding. With a compounded drug, you can't prove safety and efficacy. That's simply you just don't have the test for it.
Right. You're
And
literally trying
and
to test a one of one, right?
one of one, exactly. That's theoretically what you're doing.
Mhm.
You can do adulteration. In fact, you do. You make sure that the product is being made in appropriate ways to avoid the NECC tragedy. So the adulteration is done well, and then you have the claims being made. This is the same as Wegovy. Well, that's misbranding because you never did the test to prove that. This is cutting edge, and my person lost 30 pounds. I think that was the Serena Williams at the Super Bowl ad.
Mhm.
So, I lost
I
30
saw that.
pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's misbranding because I
that's
don't know
misbranding.
that is misbranding.
Did they get
So they won't
reached
get
out to
cited
you?
for it. At least we haven't seen whether they'll get cited or not. The reason is, if you notice, she didn't say what drug. She said GLP-1s. She didn't say which GLP-1.
But who
And that's
advertised? They
it
didn't have
was
a logo at the end.
they did not have a logo. It was Roe. It was the company that advertised, not the drug,
Ah, Row, like a HIMS competitor.
like a HIMS competitor.
I see. How's that stock doing?
I don't know.
So these stocks are
Uh,
getting beat up, especially HIMS.
well, here's what happened. So HIMS took HIMS and Novo have been fighting this battle for the last 4 years because Novo's going, I can make the drug. You guys are now just copying me and trying to undersell me.
Right.
Novo's, but HIMS is saying, I'm making it for unique patients. Uh, you usually sue under what's called the Lanham Act, or you sue under basically state laws. And the courts basically said, no, under the Lanham Act, you haven't shown enough damage, and under state laws, we're fine right now. If you want to go after them, there has to be basically a violation of the Food, Drugs, and Cosmetics Act, and you, Novo Nordisk, don't have the right to bring a case under the Food, Drugs, and Cosmetics Act.
Hmm.
Here's what happened then. Trump RX happened. And Trump RX basically said, Trump went out and said, "I want these drug companies to bring their products, bring them cheaply, most favored nation status, bring me the
Right.
cheapest price." So Novo and Lilly did it. What happens instead? HIMS came out and said, "We're still going to make a compounded version of the pill that you, Novo Nordisk, just released." And Novo's going, wait a second, how does this play out? Now, I don't know whether there's one and one is tied together because they don't disclose that, but it seems from a chronological perspective, these two things are happening at the same time, right? Trump RX
Mhm.
releases the drug, but HIMS comes out and says, we're going to make the compounded version anyways.
So hold
And
on,
that's,
this is a stupid question. So
yeah,
compounding pharmacies are exempt from honoring patents, right? Because they're not a manufacturer necessarily, so they're
they're
not
not
under
exempt,
that.
just to be clear. They're
Oh,
not
okay.
exempt. In fact, HIMS came out and said, we don't follow the same product as you have because our product is using a completely different patented process.
I see. But it's they
So
reverse engineer the
But the thing is, you don't
GLP-1.
know if it works. You don't know if it works. There's no safety efficacy data. So you're using a completely different method. In this
Hmm.
case, I think they were using liposomal products. A liposomal API is what I heard they said.
Mm, okay, interesting.
So you don't know if the safety efficacy profile is the same, and there's no testing done to prove that. And you have to file an
Right,
NDA with
right.
the FDA for that.
I guess the testing would just be, are patients losing weight? And if not, the argument is the market will decide if they're going to keep using it from HIMS or not.
That's
Right.
basically the argument they're making, but I'm not sure that flies because that's a
Right.
violation of the Food
Right.
Drugs and Cosmetics Act.
Right. Right. And these drug companies pay a lot. I mean, there's what, $3 million a day to do studies.
Yeah.
They're not just going to sit there and be okay with HIMS taking their drug and making it generic essentially and then putting other stuff in it.
So that was the funny part. Even generic companies are not okay with saying it's a generic because it's not a generic.
It's not a generic, right?
So
So
you'll
they're
see
literally
HIMS.
just bootlegging it. How
Well,
do
it's
they
not really a
bootleg it?
bootleg, is it? It's a bootleg suggests that it is
Stolen, reverse engineered.
yeah, but
So
it's
what
not
is
that
this
either,
then?
right?
Practically, how does HIMS do it? Like,
Well, practically speaking, HIMS is basically taking a variant of the product and saying we're going to market it. And patients are you initially were not able to meet that standard, Lily. You simply didn't have the product, or Nova, you didn't have the product. We're meeting that goal, and let's be clear,
mm,
there is absolutely a space for that because there were all those drug shortages about 10 years ago. Patients were not getting drugs, and these compounding pharmacies absolutely fit that goal. They
I see.
met patient needs, but this is not what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
We're in a different place this second. And I think that's where. So what happened this time around is with the Trump administration basically saying we're going to enforce the laws,
Mhm.
and what you saw was they said we're going to refer this to the Department of Justice, and
Right.
that is a huge deal. You've now gone from a administrative agency like the FDA, who is, let's be clear, pretty aggressive, to the Department of Justice, and that's when you start bringing civil and criminal penalties, and no one will
So potentially criminal
say
penalties
that could
against
happen. And we
HIMS.
don't know
We don't
yet.
know.
Potentially. So HIMS came out and said we're not gonna make the pill. Don't worry about it. But is it too late
Now
or
they
too
got
late?
scared or what?
So Novo sued HIMS anyways
So
after
they
this
were
announcement.
allowed to do this for years, right? HIMS has been doing
Yeah,
this for like 2
correct.
years as far as I can remember, at least
At
with
least 2 years, probably more.
semaglutide or what.
Yeah.
Hmm,
So that's where we
interesting.
are the second. So the history makes sense once you put it all together.
And it makes sense with the Trump RX thing because he did bring all the pharma together and say, "Hey, listen,
Yeah,
most favored nation, this is one
yeah,
of our top priorities."
right.
The pharma said, "We have no problem. It's all these middlemen." And then while you're at it, go take a look at these people, Hims
Why
and
am I going
them.
to give you the best price if someone else is going to
Mhm,
undercut me anyways?
mhm. So this is not looking good for companies like Hims.
I don't know, because Rosebush, who is actually a pharmacist lawyer as well, and he's, I think, lead counsel for what's called the Outsourcing Facilities (OFA) or Outsourcing Facilities of America, is my guess. I can't
Mhm,
remember.
mhm.
He said this is not the end of it, so I don't know what that means,
But
but
can't doesn't Hims also operate as a traditional pharmacy, online pharmacy? Like your doc can write a script for.
I don't know if they have a non-compounding version. I genuinely don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure I could look it up, but
Okay,
I've
because
always thought of them more in the compounding world.
the way I understood, I of course the compounding side, but the way I understood it was Hims was a way to bring the pharmacy to the patient, just like Amazon's doing, right?
A
With
lot of
their
them are. A lot of them are, but I
yeah,
don't. I don't know if that's what they were doing in this case because there was just too much money in the GLP-1s.
sure, sure. Because there's other companies I invest in where they never mention Hims, but they're talking about online pharmacy, especially those that
Sure,
have branded names. And one of the
absolutely.
things Him has that is their moat, which is not financial advice, but if you were an investor looking at something like Hims, they have the brand name like for an online pharmacy, right? It's almost
Oh, they have a
synonymous with,
huge brand name. They have a
yeah.
huge brand.
So if you're a
Uh,
patient and you get a regular script, if HIMS has some kind of process where you can send it to them, um, not to mention they get discovery potentially for the drugs where you can go talk to your doctor and you're already on HIMS looking to lose weight, but you also have asthma. So they have
I'm
like this
pulling up HIMS right now.
discovery.
Well,
Yeah.
so all of their advertising is focused on GLP-1s and compounded medication. So they've got three things: better sex, regrow hair, boost testosterone.
So that's
Interesting.
the
They swap
Cialis.
skincare. Yeah, exactly. So I think one of them was like just mixing them up. Um, always provide
Yeah,
FDA
I'm clicking on
regulated
that one
pharmacies,
now. Better sex, just for research purposes, of course.
and they
What
have some
bedroom
testing
boost are
stuff.
you looking for? Wow. So
So if you notice, it's not at least based on their website. It doesn't look like a regular all kinds of meds. I'm sure they could have it, but
interesting.
the popular ones list out specific
Okay,
products.
okay. Well, at least like from a growth perspective, they could
They
pivot.
could sublicense and stuff. Yeah, absolutely, they could. Yeah.
It's a much less profitable business.
Hmm.
Always prescribed by licensed providers.
Yeah.
Trusted treatments, FDA regulated pharmacies. Rigorous testing is what they put. Rigorous
Yeah.
testing and
But it is
quality controls for product
exactly what kind of
integrity.
testing, not research testing to
It
make
says
sure that it
rigorous.
exactly. But you do need to do testing to make sure that the product meets its own specifications,
Yeah.
not that it's safe and efficacious. So different tests.
Okay. 130 biomarker tests twice a year.
Right.
They'll do your labs for you as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, metabolic health, hormone health, inflammation and stress, thyroid, kidney, liver, immune. So what I'm trying to figure out, is there a future for HIMS or
Oh, there
is
is
it
a
just
future for HIMS, without a doubt. The question is, what is that future going to look like? Because so one guy basically goes, "Where do you see the HIMS stock going? It has fallen a lot. Would you buy
would
the
you buy
dip?"
the
Me
dip?
personally, I've been thinking about it. I'm not sure I'm there yet. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I'm
they're.
thinking about it too. Honestly, I actually owned HIMS for like a week last year around the top. And I made a little bit, like, it wasn't really high. Right now, the market cap's 4 billion. I think I bought this thing when it was, like, around 40 billion or more, maybe 60 billion market cap. I think it has more to go. I mean, if what Darshan is saying, what it is true what he's saying. So, if the FDA, if the DOJ is getting involved, they're gonna do criminal.
They might. I don't
Six
know if they will. They might just do the civil division, but it
well,
seems like
even
they could.
that.
Both. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
let's
not
just say
not a good
civil.
sign.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so they'll essentially their business model will have to be regular online pharmacy at that point with a brand which is
Or they could
slowly
stick in
getting
other
tarnished.
shortages. Or, for example, I think you they could get into just becoming a telemedicine platform, which there's a ton of money
Right.
in that as well.
Which they're doing. They already have that component because when
Yes.
you go on HIMS, they're going to set you up with a doctor to write you
Yeah.
the script. Then they're going to order the labs. HIMS
Yep.
is going to do the labs. Apparently, they
Yep.
have that capabilities, but that's much less profitable. So there is a
Yes.
underlying business. Now, the question is how much are the civil fines going to be? Is that going to bankrupt them?
And will it just be HIMS, or will it be everyone in compounding pharmacy that has a major platform like this,
Well,
like
they're going to
Roe,
go
for
after
example? I don't know the
they're going
answer
to
to
go
that
after
question.
all of them.
You don't have to go after all of them, right? You scare one. That's all you do.
Right.
And
And
turns out
the
HIMS is the one
biggest
that's a big
one,
target.
yeah, the HIMS. So I would stay away personally. I think it's going to go lower. And this is definitely not going to be something where it bounces right after the dip. This is going to be you get the DOJ involved. That takes time, no?
It all takes time, but again, let's be clear. You've got to balance this out. That's only one version of the story. I can
Mhm.
see an argument, and I'm going to put that other argument out
Yeah,
there.
put that argument out there.
The other argument is it's technically a pharmacy. It's not regulated by federal law. So should this be done at the state level, not by the Department of Justice, but by a specific state's attorney general? In which case, you get a lot less power and therefore you have a lot more leeway and you can have those negotiations. But I think something like um, you fall into some problems with this whole patenting rule. And I think there have been cases, for example, I had a client a long time ago who would give out pre-printed prescriptions saying, we can make this drug for you, just sort of check the boxes of what you want, we'll compound it for you.
Hmm.
And in that case, I think it was either DEA or the FDA, I forget which kind of product it was, said the moment you pre-printed them, this is not truly customized anymore.
Because you have a
So
process.
exactly, you're saying these are the ingredients we'll allow for.
I
In the
see.
same way, so if you are going out to the Super Bowl and saying, you know what, I'm going to give you tadalafil and another one of the sildenafil, tadalafil and sildenafil in your erection medication,
Sounds like a good time.
or just really painful depending on how long it lasts. But the fact is that the moment you put that in there, have you now said that this is the only formulation? In which case, you're not customizing, you're manufacturing, and that causes its own issues. So I think the entire
And if they
program,
manufacture that, they have to fall under GMP, which
which is
this
fine if they were
particular,
doing outsourcing, but there needs to be a shortage. There's no shortage right now.
I see. Yeah. And this particular FDA is very, we talked about this in the last one,
Yeah.
very careful about approving manufacturing facilities these
Yeah.
days, or like giving like no
Customer
action
overall.
indicated on the after the for after an audit of one of these
Yeah.
CMC facilities.
So there were, for example, multiple situations where there were Senate hearings and stuff on exactly this topic, on direct to patient, and the claims being made. So I think the issue is not even the manufacturing; the issue are the claims, and I think that's where people really start pushing it, saying, "Oh, you lost 30 pounds." Well, that's one person. Is that representative? Maybe, maybe not. Not necessarily with your product. And can you repeat it?
So play
You don't have
devil's
any
advocate
consistency.
here.
Yeah.
Is there a world where HIMS can coexist with Trump RX?
Yeah. Tons of
What and
ways.
what would it look like? What would it look like?
Uh, I mean, it depends on what model they go with, right? So, for example, HIMS can go in and say, you know what, we're not going to make any more compounded medications. I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying theoretically they could say that. What we'll do is we'll become the telemedicine platform for all of these meds. Well, Trump RX loves it.
Mm.
In fact, they've gone out and gotten some advisory opinions from the OIG on exactly this.
And they
So
already are a
HIMS,
telemedicine platform too. Probably the
exactly right.
biggest. Probably the biggest
Exactly
one.
right.
Mhm.
Exactly right. Another version of it
Do you
might
think that's
simply be,
worth the biggest telemedicine platform is worth $4 billion market cap?
I don't know if it is.
I don't think it
And I
is
don't know how
either.
you make a valuation on that, to be honest.
Well, when you're
Um,
the biggest, it's hard, right? But you'd have to look at the if this is now cheaper than the other telemedicine platforms, market cap wise, then maybe there's an argument. I haven't actually looked into
maybe.
it.
But I don't know. The question is, you've got a lot of weight that they've sort of now. I think they need to save some gunpowder because they're going to need it with the DOJ.
Hmm. So, like, Good RX would be a comp, right? A good comp.
No, no,
No.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Good RX simply is a coupon site.
But they do
So all
telemedicine, and they do.
I don't know if
They'll
Good
send
RX
you the
does.
med. They did do
Uh,
telemedicine, but
I, yeah,
they will send you to a pharmacy. That's right.
So, so good RX generally, at least in the pharmacy world, they're known to getting good discounts from pharmaceutical
Hmm.
companies. It's basically, in fact, that's a big argument about Trump RX. Like, has it really done anything? Because if you compare it to the good RX prices, I think that I'm making up numbers here, but like say there are 42 drugs, 40
Right.
of those drugs have the same pricing as good RX, and two of them have. I think the fertility ones have slightly better pricing, but not enough where you're going. I need to switch everything. So that's
Yeah,
the
for those
question.
curious, GoodRx has a $750 million market cap, so more than 4 times cheaper than HIMS currently.
And but it's a completely different business model.
Right, right. But if
Like Trump
HIMS were
RX,
to get into something like that, like as one of the business models, HIMS could
Well, I think
maybe
that they
do that.
already are in a different business model, right? Because they also, outside the telemedicine thing, they're also saying we're doing labs. I
Yeah,
don't know anyone
yeah,
else doing labs, which I think is another piece that they're trying to build on.
and like
Uh,
personalized labs too, like online.
correct, correct. Um, and then then you get into things like interpretation of those labs, and that could be another market. But it's a totally different goal at some point.
Hmm.
And what have you pivoted to, and is it where you wanted to be, and is that worth 40 billion?
They also do mental health, like you said,
Yeah, but
which is
what does
like
that mean?
telepsych.
Yeah, but that's just again a version of telemedicine. There are different rules, but for the most part,
Sure.
that's what it is. Now I can see again an argument saying we're going to use AI in that and raise all kinds of things, but now you're just trying to create a whole new business model with a basically saying I have patients. What do I do with it?
Right.
So I don't know, but that's where we are right now.
So you book your test. If you go to HIMS and want to do labs, you book your test in the app for a lab draw near you at one of over 200 locations. So they're contracted with people like Quest. Then you get your results on your app and you spot early signals, blah blah blah. Via your action plan, then one of the HIMS providers, certified expert, will guide you. They'll probably recommend you to get something from HIMS. Thyroid, inflammation, kidney, liver, immune defense, nutrients, blood. I think it's all cash. I would
Yeah, I
guess
would
it's all
think more
cash.
of often than not is cash based. Yes.
And then they're also like for the mental health, same thing, telemedicine. So yeah, I think what knocked this thing down was the fact that they were printing money.
Well, I think what knocks it down is they went after the pills. I think it was
Yeah,
bad enough to do it as an injectable, and the moment Trump RX released, I think there was an element of, okay, what are you gonna if we give you the best prices, you've got to at least enable us to make our money back,
hmm,
or make a profit, or whatever controls we. If you're gonna ask us to do the testing, why is it they get to not do the testing? So I found the drug, I invented the drug, I did the testing for the drug, I got the FDA approval, and someone else comes and makes a profit off it.
yeah. If they have anything that's worth 4 billion, it's their brand. Because if you're just average Joe six pack sitting at home,
Yeah.
hey, I don't feel like going to the doctor. Let me go on HIMS and see. And then you end up getting a teleconsultation with someone. They're going to prescribe you something, send you to the labs. I think there's something there
There's
to
definitely
be
something there,
synonymous with.
but is it worth 4 billion? I don't know
I
the
don't know.
answer to that.
Maybe it might be. I mean, I think it might if people are moving towards that. But these are only cash paying people. They're not going to be insurance
I
covered.
think
So
that's going
what?
to eventually evolve as well, but not right now.
Not yet. So what's the total addressable market? And it's really like, what do cash patients do? Like, basically, they figured it out already. It's balding, sex performance, and weight loss, and
And testosterone.
testosterone. Yeah, which I guess
So it's
is
basically a bunch of dudes. Remember, that's all hymns. There must be
no, no.
there is
There's
there's
women.
also
There's
hers.
women on the weight loss. Yeah, Hims and
No, there's
hers.
hers, which is
Yeah, yeah.
their
But
own
Hims
version.
and hers. Yeah,
So let's
it's the same
see what
thing.
hers has.
Hers is like
Just
hormones and like menopause stuff. I think there's a $4 billion market cap here. I don't.
could
I
be.
think it'll go lower. I think maybe this is the fair price, and we still have to go lower. So I would not be rushing to buy this thing right now. I'm not financial advice. I actually lose more money than I make
I am
when
not
I
giving
invest.
financial advice or legal advice on anything I've said so far.
Well, you just gave a bunch, but yeah, thank you for the
No,
disclaimer.
no,
Nah,
no.
nah, I'm trying to get you. I'm trying. Just messing there, Sean. But yeah, this most people are watching this are thinking, well, is it time? I don't think this bounces that quickly. This is gonna take some time. I think it
Well,
does.
I expect a
I think it
lawsuit
can.
back pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. It's at 17 now. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes to 8, even half more from what it is, and then I might start looking into it as well.
I
Anything under
think
10.
there's a. The question is when is it a dead cat bounce?
I don't think it'll have a dead cat bounce. There's too much fear, way too much fear on this thing. When you mentioned DOJ and civil criminal, it doesn't sound like an easy end in sight.
Yeah.
Big Davy, I see you, man. Don't worry, we still got AQST and Iova. Not financial advice. HIMS is one of these interesting ones, though. Can you
HIMS is
imagine you
definitely
bought
an
this thing
interesting
in
company,
at the
without a doubt.
top at 60 billion? I remember texting you about HIMS about a year ago.
And
I
what did
said,
I
"What do you think
say?
about HIMS?" You said, "Let me pull it up." You advised me against it.
Do you think that was good advice?
Of course. Look at the chart, man. Uh, yeah, you said no. I don't. It's risky. Something about it. You don't like it. So yeah, you
Again,
stay
I
away
do
from
want
this
to
stuff,
clarify.
man. You know too much about it.
That's why I don't buy anything, and I avoid this part of the world.
Yeah. Don't you think you have a, like arbitrage to like do well, like with your knowledge?
So I think there's a point at which you know too much because you can see the
Yeah.
complexity when, like, with tech, I don't know enough about coding. I used to, but I don't code anymore. So my knowledge base is dumb. I'm like dumb enough to invest.
Yeah. The problem with knowing too much is you get in earlier than the market realizes. So then you're
Exactly.
like, damn, it's not going up. And then you sell it. And then the
Right.
market realizes. So you missed, like, you
Exactly.
got in early and then you'll get out too soon.
Yes.
Like you get
Yes.
out
All
before
that's
they
true.
freak out. And you're like, man, I got out and this thing kept going up. But ultimately, you're right.
You
But
know what
where
that
it
happened?
comes time to
You know
make
where that
money, you
happened?
don't make the money.
You know where that happened for me? Bitcoin.
Nah, man, it's not too
5,000.
late for Bitcoin. That's another one going down, but they're not in as much trouble as him
No.
by any stretch.
67,000 is where I think they are right now, right?
Yeah, I think around 50, I would start buying more. I've
Maybe.
already bought a little more, but him's no, I'm not touching this thing until I see like $10. Then it gets interesting, and then we need some more clarity on what's
See,
happening,
I think before it gets there, they're going to start to sell themselves.
like piece by piece.
No, I imagine someone, just for argument's sake, Roe might say, "I'll buy you."
Why would they want to catch this falling knife?
No, but the criminal penalties would typically be against the people.
But
You could buy the assets.
the civil stays.
No, you might say, "I'm just buying the assets." You hold on to the liabilities.
What's the
Although you
assets?
get
The
neither.
website? The website?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and the customer lists.
Now you're talking. Now you're onto something. So the
I don't think they're
brand.
close enough to that yet, but yeah.
No,
But
I think they can pivot. I think they could be an online pharmacy, a lab, a telemedicine. But I don't think that's $4 billion current. I think ultimately that's 4 billion, but I think I would wait to go lower. It still has room to go
I don't
down.
represent them. I just want to be clear.
No, I know. Are you going to be following this saga?
I have to. It's part of some of the work I do. So
So
yeah,
whenever there's an update, when can we expect an update? Like a
whenever you want.
no, but like from the actual FDA or DOJ or one of the
Oh,
regulatory.
I think there are updates happening literally continuously.
Okay, so this is
So
actively being investigated right now.
well, they got referred to the
Okay.
DOJ. You don't refer things. The
What does that mean?
the
Like when what does that mean maybe like
so,
for the lay
so
people?
Makari is the head of the FDA,
Right.
and and he said, "I'm referring this. We're going to have this referred to the DOJ to investigate." When the head of the FDA is saying that, he's not saying, "Oh, you should think about it." He's going, "Yeah, do something." Um,
Mhm.
so something's going to happen. The question is just simply what. I would be surprised if I would like be beyond surprised if nothing happens.
Oh, for sure. You don't go to the DOJ. The DOJ doesn't take on things from what I understand without doing something.
So I have friends at the DOJ. I have friends in the U.S.
Ooh.
Attorney's Office, and I'm not. I don't have any insider information on
Can
this.
we get them on?
No,
Oh.
they won't even come on my podcast. They need a bunch of approvals and everything. I've presented
Mm.
with them before, but and I have a ton of ex USA. In fact, I just did a podcast with one who was an ex US attorney.
I gotta watch it.
Um, it was on fraud, healthcare fraud, actually. So he. So what was the question? They, generally speaking, they will investigate and they will wait and prowl. And
Who's
generally
they?
speaking,
DOJ?
DOJ, U.S. Attorney, DOJ, same thing in this case.
How long do you
Um,
think it would take to get a final resolution from the DOJ on this, based on
it
your
could be
experiences?
it could be 8 years.
So there's definitely no need to go rush out and buy this stock.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because they're going to want a pound of flesh. Let's be very clear. Now, you have to be crystal clean to have no pound of flesh. And I don't think even HIMS will argue that they're crystal clean. There's some risks that were taken. Whether or not they're appropriate
Mm.
or not, that's a different discussion.
What were the
But
risks
I mean, the fact that
besides
you're
what
going
you
to bring a
mentioned?
product to market. Well, just the stuff I've mentioned.
Okay, but like false advertising,
Well, those are all
misleading,
part of
misleading,
misbranding is the argument, right? So they would say
misbranding.
it's not misbranding. There are no rules, for example, and what you FDA technically have no jurisdiction over what we do.
Mm.
So who are you to decide whether we're following the rules or not? The only people who get to decide is the state boards. So that might be the angle they take.
So worst case, from the bullish side, the worst case is they lose their compounding capabilities.
No, the worst case is going to jail. Worst case is shutting the
Ooh.
whole thing down.
And who would go? The CEO?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I know cases where these cases have dragged on, not because they couldn't be settled, but the CEO doesn't want to go to jail. So he will do everything he can to fight it, which means
From
that
everything, from everything you know about this situation with HIMS, what do you
I don't
think
know that.
an appropriate? What would be an appropriate penalty?
Well, that assumes that there's a penalty at all, right?
Right. So what do
And
you think?
I have biases. Just be clear, I have my own bias. That doesn't make it right.
Right. What do you
So
think will be the outcome then?
there will be some level of settlement. Someone's going to pay a pound of flesh. I don't think it's just going to be
Oof,
money. Uh,
really?
I don't think it'll be just money because I think that I would be surprised if it's just money.
Hmm.
Um, I because you're talking about head of the FDA at that point. Now I
Yeah,
think
I
no,
saw that tweet. I retweeted it and I put Rutro Scooby
yeah.
Doo reference.
Well, the only problem is row could also just mean row, which is
Now that I mean, McCary doesn't really tweet like that aggressively. He's very,
yeah, yeah.
level-headed. That was a great, and everybody knew he's talking about hymns without mentioning them.
Yeah.
Mm.
But remember, it's not just hymns.
No,
There are
I
a bunch of
know,
things
but
that are no, I know you were talking about hymns, and he probably was talking about hymns. But the point is, overall, this is going to affect the entire compounding pharmacy industry.
right, including the ones that make meds for my dogs that we actually need.
No, those guys are probably going to be okay, right? The
Okay.
moment you start saying, so I actually wrote up an article for a friend of mine on what were the big issues in compounding pharmacies and the types of misbranding that they did. Do you want me to like pull it up?
Yeah, sure.
Because um,
So the more you talk, the more this is gonna be like sub $1 billion market cap.
just a second. I just sent this yesterday. Hold on.
Not financial advice. I've
Or
been
legal
interested in HIMS for a
advice.
while though, because I thought one of their biggest pivots was becoming the new version of a PBM. So like just
That's
getting
not in that
consumers
world at all.
right. Well, PBM is gonna be gone. Like the new version of what a PBM actually would be, which is direct to consumer.
So
Anything
PBMs.
DTC for
Go ahead.
no anything DTC for patients, right? For medicine. That could
It's
be
not a
a
PBM. No.
that's not a PBM, but it's like kind of replacing the
What do you think a
traditional
PBM is? Let's start with what do you think a PBM is?
the PBM negotiate what big insurance companies will pay for like the big corporations when their
Correct.
employees need health
Absolutely.
plans.
So direct to patient is more about the delivery mechanism, while
Right,
PBMs are about
getting
the
rid of
payment
that
mechanism.
whole paradigm. Yeah.
Right. Um,
You don't think
so the
that's a potential pivot, like DTC?
Hmm. No,
No.
it'd be a completely different market. So
Oh.
here are the four big areas. So I went through, I think it was like 67 different compounding pharmacy claim letters that the FDA put out in the context of telemedicine. They came down to four major things. One is they kept saying that our product is the generic of one of the GLP ones. You're not a generic. A generic still has to go to get an ANDA, a
Mm,
505J. You didn't do any of that. You're not a generic. So when you claim that, that's misbranding. The
okay.
second one was you'd see them say things like, same as FDA approved drug, or we are FDA approved. Compounding does not mean FDA approval. There's no FDA approval of compounding.
HIMS did both of those things basically already.
I don't know if they
They
did. I didn't see that. I don't know if they did, but
okay.
let's hold off on that for a second. The third one is different companies. One of them was selling a drug called Returatride. I,
That's
I,
the next
it,
gen GLP.
well, I don't know if it's a next gen. It may not. It may completely fail. It's not approved in the U.S. at this moment. So that's where we are. The second,
I think that's
it
Lilly.
might.
Isn't that a Lilly
No,
one?
it's not out
Oh.
yet. It's not approved yet. So that's what they called it out for. It's illegal sale of unapproved drugs.
Mhm.
And then the last one is misbranding regarding the safety and efficacy. So these are the four big things, and then there are like versions of that and everything, but those are the big ones. And you were
The
seeing
big
compounding pharmacies all
violations of compounding
big categories of
pharmacies.
violations. Yeah.
Big category, which include potential jail time.
Well, theoretically, right?
Hmm.
If
Interesting.
taken to the extreme, but yeah.
Yeah. I think to play devil's advocate, HIMS would probably point to no one's been harmed.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, there's at least been no deaths.
How do you know?
It
I
would have
think
been
HIMS probably
headlines
has
already, no?
GMP controls it there. No, you. This is the funny part. Tell me
Just like the
this. How,
steroid scandal with the New England one, right? New England compounding
yeah, that's because
pharmacy. I
we
mean,
found it out. But the fact is
mm,
that 15 people could have been harmed in many things, and we just simply wouldn't
mm,
know.
okay.
If you're not looking, you wouldn't know.
Right,
Now,
right, okay.
it's not like they had this information of report your adverse events to us. Like they just simply don't follow the same labeling requirements.
But in this
So
case, HIMS has the telemedicine component, so somebody's theoretically following the patients.
no, see, no, that doesn't.
No?
Telemedicine telemedicine does not necessarily include continued oversight. It
Mm,
simply enables the prescribing of the drug, not what happens after. And
not the
that's
maintenance.
one of the issues, not the maintenance.
I see.
And that's
Huh.
why your family doc hates it because he's going, I don't even know what medication you're on because you're going to someone else. But
Right.
I'm responsible to make sure that everything else is being managed. How do I do that when there's no central group that I can go
But
to
then
and
the
get this
flip side
information?
is some of these family medicine providers that do weight loss,
Yeah,
they'll partner with a compound pharmacy. So, hey, we'll write the script. We've done a
absolutely.
very comprehensive test. So we know what you're deficient in all these things, and we're gonna mix it all up with some GLP, and we get a good deal for it, and we pass that savings off to you.
That's the basic argument. The
Hmm.
question is, are they really going, number one, these biomarkers matter or these labs matter? If they do, then absolutely, I think you have an argument there. Or was it your vitamin B12 is down? Like, how often are you really testing for vitamin B12? I mean, we're
Well,
not in the world of like,
some of these cash clinics, they do a good job of tracking all these things on patients.
sure, but the question is, does it matter? It's not whether you
Mm.
did the test; it's whether that is actually relevant. Like, we're not in the world of scurvy where you need to worry about. Like, I think scurvy was a vitamin C. Like
But
that used to be because
isn't that an individual patient right? What
what
what I need to focus on, like what I should choose to focus on
if your provider says.
if my provider says I need this, and that, and we can mix it with the GLP.
So you're saying that patients should be able to make that decision. That should be a decision between the provider and the patient only. Is that what
Correct.
you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If that's true, let's assume you're right. Why does that not apply to gender affirming treatment?
I don't know if it does or doesn't.
No,
But
no,
just in the case of like a compounding pharmacy getting in
no, no. The reason
trouble,
I'm saying that, the only reason I'm saying that is you pointed out a really good point, which is some decisions should be between the provider and the patient. In
correct?
fact, that
Yeah,
was seen in the ivermectin case, where people were like, "Oh, you can't use ivermectin for blah blah blah." The FDA put out a thing saying you're not a cow, and whether or not I agree with that, the fact is
right.
that's a
Yeah,
decision between the patient and the provider.
correct.
Whether or not you use a compounding medication and go vitamin B12, that's a decision between the provider and the
Yes,
comp
then
and
I
the
agree on both sides. Yeah,
and that's the question. But we're now saying that if it is
provided it's adults,
mifepristone,
everyone's adult, right?
but let's say it's not an adult. If you have consent
Mm.
from the patient, does that matter? Or consent from the parents?
Well, it becomes a different argument, I think, because
Is
it's
it
an
why?
extra variable.
Sure, but in the end, it's everyone who can consent. I mean, parents
The
consent all the
premise,
time to.
yeah, the premise is related, but it's not exactly the same argument as if you just argue all adults with gender
I mean, it's
affirming.
cleaner, but
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
cleaner by in a significant enough way? So I'm not
right,
disagreeing that
yeah,
there's an additional variable. The question is that variable material because
right, right.
if using your logic, you would never be able to consent to say a circumcision for Max.
So is that correct? So is that okay? So I guess what I'm trying to discover is this issue, the FDA's gripe, more that they're trying to protect patients, or is it that they're in this case, it looks like they're trying to protect big pharma
Why not
if they
both?
go after the
But why not both?
well, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think the small community providers that partner with compound pharmacies would be violating any regulations.
Well, you are because the fact is that do you actually know if this is going to help your patients?
Right.
Because are you asking for this because it actually benefits the patient,
So if they
or
prove like continuous follow up as opposed to HIMS, apparently they don't. I
so
thought the HIMS did too.
here's the funny thing. I just had to do this for another client of mine. um, there are multiple states that say that if you are prescribing a drug because it benefits you and it's a financial incentive, we consider that to be a violation of either the anti-kickback law or the all-payer statute or the like. So it's not
They
as
can
clean
go
as
after all these. This could just be what you're saying is this could just be the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. HIMS, but then it's gonna go down all the way
it
down to
could.
like these cash clinics.
I think you're trying to make a point, is where we are. I don't think that they don't have to go further if they do hymns,
I
but
see.
they would make a really big point with them.
And that would be enough to scare the smaller compounding pharmacies and say, hey, you know what, doc,
Is this really
we
what you want?
enjoyed working with you, but it's kind of hot out here.
Right.
Okay, we gotta lower
As
the
they say, it's
temperature.
hard out there for a pimp.
It's hard out there. Yeah. Well, I think that's good, man. I think we'll do some follow ups.
Yeah.
I gotta let my puppy out.
Yeah, he's
He,
definitely feeling it. His
he's been
tail's
a good
wagging. He's
boy.
going.
One time, someone thought I had a tail, and I was happy to see you, man. Wagging my tail. All right.
You're
Well,
gonna get a lot of
I
hate for this one, by the way,
not financial advice, but I would not buy Hims right now.
and not
But it
legal
does get
advice or medical
intriguing.
advice.
Yeah, definitely not. It becomes intriguing at a certain point, but I don't think we're there yet.
I think it's intriguing, but yeah,
Four
stay tuned. Let
billion.
us
It's
know if this
still a
was
lot.
intriguing.
4.4 billion is still a lot.
Yeah, the question is it worth 4.4 billion?
I don't
Do they
think the total.
know
Well, I
these
haven't
elements?
done the. I gotta do a Gemini deep dive on this. See what the total addressable market is if you eliminate the weight loss patients, possibly everyone else. If they're truly trying to make an example out of them, they're gonna get rid of their tadalafil, all that stuff. Why just weight loss? Even though those are generic, but a lot of people, that's a different market there where patients are more afraid of the stigma of going to a doctor and getting a pharmacy prescription filled because they don't want to be seen as like having ED versus, hey, it's discreet, it's at your house, it's on. There's a market there. as well. But that's a different consumer than the weight loss consumer.
Correct. Correct.
So it's kind of complicated, a little nuanced, but we'll keep following it, man. Thank you, Darshan, for coming on.
Pleasure as
Everybody,
always.
go follow him on all his channels. His YouTube is amazing. It's really litty, and his X is also like banging.
I'm trying to follow the big dog. I'm
That's
gonna call
right.
you Big Dog.
You'll do that's 2026. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you,
Very cool.
Darshan.
Thanks,
Everybody,
Big Dog.
like, subscribe, comment.